What is up, everyone? We are back. Hope you all had a great long weekend. Happy 4th of July. I know a lot of you in chat were talking about how you spent some quality time with your family, quality time with your dogs. That's what I like to hear. That's what the long weekends are all about. I, too, had a great weekend. Saw some of my family that I haven't seen in a very long time. Saw some old friends from my hometown. And, of course, got to spend some time with my dog, Simba. So it was a great weekend. How was your weekend, CJ?
It was good. It was really good to get a break from the charts and just kind of relax. Yesterday, went to Little Vietnam in Chicago, and I
Oh,
created this
nice.
like little Zen garden. Bought some sand and some other
Uh,
stuff.
I
So
know
it's
you love that kinetic sand, that therapy.
yeah, and feeling refreshed this morning. But the actual point that I want to make is that in a lot of jobs and a lot what you'll see in entrepreneurial accounts on Twitter or Elon Musk, it's like, oh, he's working in the factory, he's sleeping in the factory. You got to work 20 hours a day. You got to be disciplined. Yeah, those are all good things, guys. But trading more does not necessarily equate to more money. It's usually destructive. And so I think you got to treat it like an athlete. Athletes work out hard, but their rest is just as important as the actual workout. And I think trading is very similar because it's pretty difficult at times emotionally. So it's good to get the rest. It's good to be back, but we got some assets to discuss.
Yes, we do. But that's a great point, CJ. You got to be in the right state of mind to be successfully trading, and that requires some rest. So I'm feeling great. I'm feeling reinvigorated. I know you are too. So let's hop to it. I want to start with Bitcoin, but first and foremost, I want to talk about something that you guys have been mentioning in chat quite a bit, and that is the grayscale lockup being coming to an end here. So first, we're looking at Bitcoin's price action. Not too much happening, still consolidating below that smooth moving average. Let's take a look at this lockup chart from Bybit. It's a bit hard to see, but here on July 12th is the most amount of the unlocking that we'll see. It'll be on July 12th, and that's going to be just next week. So it's going to be interesting. We've seen conflicting reports about what this could mean for the Bitcoin market. So the first one, and I think this is leading to a lot of the FUD that we're seeing in the market, is a report that came out from JP Morgan on June 24th. And one thing they quoted in their article, which has been picked up by news outlets like CNBC and others, they say selling of GBT shares exiting the 6-month lockup period during June and July has emerged as an additional headwind for Bitcoin. And he says the dynamic would lead to downward pressure on GBTC prices and on Bitcoin markets more generally. But beyond JP Morgan and the outlets that have covered JP Morgan's analysis, for the most part, I've seen neutral to bullish sentiment regarding this GBTC lockup. One really interesting perspective is the one here from Amber Group. And they say lots of bearish chatter around GBTC unlocks, whilst conveniently ignoring that in-kind subscriptions funded by debt will ultimately translate into spot buying. And this is a common theme I've been seeing throughout Twitter and through various crypto hedge fund managers. They're actually expecting an increase in Bitcoin spot buying following this lockup, because the GBTC, when it becomes unlocked, you get paid in cash. And one thing that, so how it works is accredited investors, mostly institutions and wealthy traders, were able to subscribe to GBTC shares directly at the fund's NAV, their net asset value. And, they did so in private placements by depositing owned or borrowed Bitcoin or US dollars. And after a 6-month lockup, those shares could be sold in the secondary market, including to retail investors. So, it's going to be, I think we'll see, some perhaps interim volatility over the next couple of weeks. But given the fact that we're seeing a bit of a drop in supply in Bitcoin on spot exchanges, and also just a general kind of consolidation in price, I'm expecting a somewhat bullish effect following this news. The largest single day unlock is going to happen from it'll either be on June 12th or June 18th, where they'll release 16,000 BTC. And upon those unlocking, carry traders could snap up Bitcoin from the spot market to repay loans or return the original portfolio position thereby lifting Bitcoin higher. So despite the fact that we've seen, a lot of bearish news about this lockup period coming to a close here in the next couple of weeks, I think it could actually provide some positive buy pressure for Bitcoin, something that we haven't seen, in a few weeks now. But I think that ties in nicely with something that you want to talk about, CJ, and that is the liquid supply of Bitcoin. You want to dive into that?
Yes, we're seeing an on-chain bullish divergence between liquid supply and Bitcoin price. So we have Bitcoin price going down, and the liquid supply is essentially a illustration of large Bitcoin purchases, purchases above or wallets holding above 1,000 Bitcoin. So anything that we define on-chain as, a Bitcoin whale. And this kind of goes with what we've been saying in our analysis throughout the past couple of weeks to month. It's like, in terms of a short-term trade or a doge of the day, I've been very prudent to enter, and I've been very cautious because we're just not really hitting, a trending market yet. I still think we're in a ranging market, and we have a lot of resistance overhead. However, in terms of a long-term buy, say 6 to 8 months from now, I'm completely content scaling in at these levels, even if we do drop to say 27 or 26K for the long term. And I think that whales are showing that exact same sentiment because they're showing they're willing to accumulate at this levels. If you look at the CMF for a lot of assets as well, including Bitcoin, shaken money flow, we see that same bullish divergence of new capital coming into the space. So that's a very bullish long-term metric. And I think it's probably the most bullish thing about Bitcoin right now. But I do kind of want to go back to GBTC and what you were talking with that, Monty, because could you please pull up that lockup chart again, if possible? Sure. Because I was wondering, have we had comparable, unlocks of Bitcoin like this in GBTC before? I know this is the largest one, but this is not something that hasn't occurred before. Like, look at that massive spike. I think it's on June 24th. And so if this were to occur, I think it's already priced into the market. And, I think that chart we just talked about with the large institutional players, like they're still willing to accumulate Bitcoin at these levels, regardless of the vehicle or the instrument that they can get it with. So I think this news is likely priced in already. It's a very sensational story for mainstream media. CNBC loves it. Of course, we're getting it from JP Morgan, but I could be wrong, but my opinion of this is that it's already priced in.
I'm right there with you, CJ. Moving on to ETH, you were talking about what that liquid supply chart meant for Bitcoin. You thought maybe it was somewhat of a bullish metric for Bitcoin. What are you seeing for ETH?
It is a bullish metric, but it doesn't mean we've bottomed. All right. I think people are still going to be willing to accumulate even if we drop, say, below 30s. The thing that I want to make, or the point I want to make about Ethereum is that I don't know if we're going to break this resistance level on the first try right now, like today or tomorrow, because we just hit a TD sequential sell 9. We have a 20 to 30% decrease in average trading volume on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we're going up against a really strong resistance level on a TD sell 9 with extremely low volume. So I'm not inherently bearish on the overall trend. I just think we're going to get a rejection from this level, or that I would be very surprised if it could break above that white smoothed moving average that you can see on the chart above. But that being said, I think it's going to take maybe 2-3 more times to truly break above that level. Sometimes you really need to form momentum for these assets before you can really break through that strong resistance or support. If you look at Bitcoin in 2018, that one support level of 6K, we tested a myriad of times before it finally broke. So not saying it's going to be the same way on the upside, but it may take a couple attempts here before we break on through.
Yeah, it's looking that way, CJ. In terms of technical factors, this ETH chart is screaming that it's due for a bit of an interim reversal. And speaking to TD sell 9s, another chart you sent me that I thought was very interesting, and that could also tie in with this ETH price action, is the DeFi perpetual index. We saw a lot of altcoins have some really positive price action over the weekend. That's always fun to see. But now, CJ, you sent me this chart and it got a bit felt like a bit of rain on my parade here. But you want to talk about what you're seeing with the DeFi perp and this TD Cell 9?
Well, I don't want to rain on your parade because I do think there are bullish elements to this chart. Look at the CMF right below there. Look at that funding rate of the Chaikin money flow. We see money coming into the space. We see buyers willing to get in at these levels. However, very similar to Ethereum, we're coming up on that TD Cell 9, low volume, actually not as low volume as Ethereum. We're actually seeing a lot of spikes in assets like Mana. Your Doge of the day from last week, Comp, has been a really good performer. Aave with over 100% in relative trading volume today. So the DeFi assets are spiking. They actually are seeing a little bit of volume come in as Bitcoin and Ethereum kind of remain stagnant. However, we are reaching that TD Cell 9 going up into resistance. So while this chart looks bullish on the trend overall, take a look at what happened on that yellow arrow with the first TD buy 9, and then that white arrow right below the TD buy 9 as well. Price reversed, even if it was only temporary. So I think we'll probably end up seeing the inverse of something like that yellow arrow, which is below the TD buy 9, maybe a couple days of profit taking before resuming a bullish trend. So we'll see what happens, but this would be an optimal or probably the most likely territory in which traders would take profit.
Yeah, it is looking that way, CJ. And with with DeFi, you always have to look at it in context with ETH. And I think one thing that I would look for in terms of a break to the upside in this DeFi perpetual index would be some bullish signals for ETH. And it just doesn't seem like they're necessarily there right now. So I agree that it will likely get rejected at this level, but we will probably retest it the next time we get some bullish signals in ETH. But that's about all I got for the main assets today. And I didn't pick a Doge of the day today, but I know you picked one. So would you like to tell us about your Doge of the day today?
I tentatively picked a Doge, and I want to be very specific with a very tight stop on this Doge. But the thing that's very interesting to me, like I mentioned earlier, we do have DeFi assets spiking. We had Comp, Aave, Maker, many others seeing above triple-digit percent increases in average trading volume. But those have all gone up about 15 to 20%. GRT, or the graph here, has only gone up about a couple percent today, but it's up over 90% in terms of average trading volume. So I really like that. And I really like the fact that we're actually above that moving average, unlike a lot of those previous assets that we had mentioned. So I would use a very tight stop loss for this one, probably the moving average. But I do expect it to potentially rally up to that next TD resistance level at about $1, maybe 90 cents. Being said, there's a reason Monty's not taking a Doge of the day. And there's a reason why I'm picking this one tentatively. Being said, that volume spike is very interesting. So we'll see. Maybe put it on your watch list, see what happens throughout the next 24 hours. But that's all I got, sir.
Yeah, I actually think that's a good pick, CJ. One thing I've been preaching on the last couple of weeks is looking for sort of discrepancies, definitely in terms of placement around moving averages. And we're seeing so many assets this morning press up against the bottom of that 20 smooth moving average. Whereas looking at GRT, it's looking like it may be due for some consolidation above it. But if that volume continues, then yeah, this thing could, really run with the lack of upward resistance. So that's a true Doge of the day right there, my friend. I like it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We also want to say thank you to the sponsor of this show, Voyager. Hope you guys watched that race. They had their NASCAR sponsored with Landon, so that was very entertaining, and it's great for the overall crypto space. But if you're looking for a place to trade crypto commission-free, Voyager is your spot. They've got interest rates off the charts. They're offering 12% interest APY on Polkadot and about 9% on USDC. If you use the promo code REBEL25 when you sign up, you'll get $25 free in Bitcoin when you fund the account with $100. So you're getting a fourth of your capital backed there right from the get-go. So pretty nice deal from Mr. Ehrlich upstairs. Also, if you'd like to try our crypto trading room, where we publish trade ideas, entries, exits, and stop losses, and give a little bit more insight to these doges of the day, you can follow us down below at marketrebellion.com/trycrypto, and you can get the first month access with us for just $1. We're also going to be trying to release another course throughout the rest of this week, but we're continually building up that education center, not only with Bitcoin, DeFi, MetaMask, and some others, but we really want to bring you guys the best possible education on technical analysis out there. So stay tuned for some more momentum courses later in the week. But that's all I got. Thank you very much for watching. And Monty, I'll leave it with you, sir.
Yep, I'll just echo that. Thank you guys so much for watching. And like CJ said, I think one of the most underutilized assets of our room is that education curriculum. So go check it out. Here's just an example of some of the technical analysis courses, and CJ's been adding a ton more. So if you're interested in learning about technical analysis, some of these things we talk about every day here, definitely go check that out. It's included with your subscription. And if you aren't subscribed, like CJ said, just $1 for the first month, and you get entire access to the whole room, curriculum, everything included. So try it out. But that's all I got. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully get some exciting price action within the next 24 hours. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.